Originally, this job was called Fool. Always want to put it down under occupation on the form, you know? Occupation, Fool. I think I'd spell it with the final E just to piss him off, you know?
I understand your son's a fool, Mrs. Carlin.
America's fastest rising young fool. Well, in the old days, they were using the real thing. Folks who normally spend a lot of time in closets, and, well, there were jesters and there were buffoons, there were various kinds, but there were just plain old... They were entertaining. I guess it happened by accident one night. The dancers were late or something, you know. Throw the fool out there. Hey, he's good. God damn. People always want to know how you get this job, how you get started. It's largely hereditary. And like everything else, environmental too. Being funny on the streets. That's a part of the start, knowing you're funny when you're a kid. Street humor as opposed to school. In school it was easy. Being a class clown was really easy because people aren't allowed to laugh in school. It was nice because the other person got in trouble. The guy who laughed was the one that really got all the heat. Because he couldn't control himself and he'd burst out. You whip a quick face on Roger and look around like you're interested in the problem on the blackboard, and Roger's in trouble. You know? Hey, Roger! Roger, there's nothing funny here, outside. You could clear the room if you were good. Man. Sometimes they'd cross you up, though, and they'd say, Roger is going to stand up and tell us all what's so funny, isn't he, Roger? Roger. So the street was a little harder. It was, well, part of it was like slip fights. It was just good to be funny, generally, in a tough neighborhood. If you weren't a big fighter dude, and you got tired of running a lot, it was good to be funny. If guys came around, it would save you from an ass kicking if someone from another neighborhood came around. Who's going to hit a guy, you know, and sitting there? Don't hit him, man. It's bad luck to hit a guy like that, you know? But slip fights, we had slip fights. You know, when adolescent boys, teenage boys are together, they're always putting each other down verbally. There's a running verbal battle. Chop fight, they call them in some place. Cutting, slip fight, we call them. And it started with the dozens, you know, talking about some places have rules when you're putting each other down. No mothers, man. Hey, no mothers, man. We didn't have that rule. We started right in with your mother. And worked it from there. Hey, where'd you go last night? I was out with your mother, man. There was always one guy whose mother had died, remember? And, oh, man. What do you mean, my mother's dead, man? I forgot, man. That originated in black street culture as the dozens, or capping on somebody, signifying the dozens, playing the dozens. You want to play the dozens? Well, the dozens is a game, but the way I fuck your mother is a goddamn shame. I used to be Irish Catholic, now I'm an American, you know, you grow. Yeah. I was from one of those Irish neighborhoods in New York, one of those kind of parish schools. Wasn't typical. It was Corpus Christi was the name of it. Could have been any Catholic church, right? Our Lady of Great Agony. St. Rita Moreno. Our Lady of Perpetual Motion. What's the difference? What you call it, you know? The church part and the neighborhood part were typical, but the school was not. It wasn't one of those old-fashioned parish kind of prison schools with a lot of corporal punishment and systemary discipline with the steel ruler, right? Oh, my hand! Ah! And you'd fall 2 years behind in penmanship, right? Well, he's behind in penmanship, Mrs. Carlin. I don't know why. Well, he's crippled. He's trying to learn to write with his left hand, you know? We didn't have that. Somehow I got lucky, you know, got into a a school where the pastor was kind of into John Dewey and progressive education, and he talked the diocese rather, into experimenting in our parish with progressive education and whipping the religion on us anyway and see what would happen with the two of them there. And worked out kind of nice. There was a lot of classroom freedom. There was no, for instance, there were no grades or marks, you know, no report cards to sweat out or any of that. There were no uniforms. There was no sexual segregation, boys and girls together, and the desks weren't all nailed down in a row, you know. They were movable desks, and you had new friends every month. It was nice. Like I say, a lot of classroom freedom. In fact, there was so much freedom that by 8th grade, many of us had lost the faith because they made questioners out of us, and they really didn't have any answers, you know. They'd fall back on, well, it's a mystery.
Oh, thank you, Father. Mystery? I don't know. What's he talking about? Mystery.
Once a week, Father Russell would come in for heavy mystery time. And you'd save all your weird questions for Father Russell. In fact, you'd make up strange questions. You'd take a whole week thinking up trick questions to Father Russell.
Hey, Father. Hey, if God is all-powerful, can he make a rock so big that he himself can't lift it? Hey! We got him now!
Or else you'd take a very simple sin and surround it with the most bizarre circumstances you could imagine to try to, you know, relieve the guilt in the sin. It would usually end up with the statement,
Would that then be a sin then, Father?
it was like here, this is an example. There was one sin, not receiving communion during Easter time. You had to perform your Easter duty. You had to receive once between Ash Wednesday and Pentecost Sunday. And if you didn't do it, it was a mortal sin, providing, of course, you had said to yourself, hey, I'm not going to do it this year. And there weren't many mortal sins on that, but a lot of guys went to Venial City on Easter duty. And so you would ask the priest, you know,
Hey, Father. Hey,
remember guys would leave their hand up after they got called on, right? And the priest would say, what are you, the Statue of Liberty done?
Oh, sorry, Father. Anyways, Father, hey, suppose that you didn't make your Easter duty, and it's Pentecost Sunday, the last day, and you're on a ship at sea, and the chaplain goes into a coma. But you wanted to receive, and then it's Monday, too late. But then you cross the international date line.
Yes, I'm sure God will take that into account. Sit down, Wizzy. I never got to do black voices on television. That's what bothered me a little bit. You know, you can do your own group. Myron Cohen can do Jewish guys, and Pat Cooper can do Italians, and blacks can do blacks, and you can do your own group. But crossing over, it's not so good. You know, they want to hear it. They're afraid of letters. Say, I never got to do some of the studs from the street, man. What's happening, man? I'm told I'll be here for a while, man. You see that motherfucker, you told me to come back here, man, because I'm going to be here, you understand? That's some bullshit, too, man. More or less, you understand? Okay. Hey, you can tell them that shit now. Never got, no, guys were always on me. Black guys were always bugging me about my ass, because I got no ass, you know. Kind of a straight line from the shoulder to the heels, and, black race has a more pronounced ass anyway, and you know, a regular, you've seen that in National Geographic. I noticed it in the service, man. It's true, man. It's just, anthropologists will tell you that, you know, if you can wake them up at the party, man, and get their attention. It's true, but at any rate, I was always getting kidded about it, because there are three kinds of asses, basically. I've numbered them, 1, 2, and C. I was never very good at indexing, but the first one's the fat ass, which you all know, you can't miss it. Even in the winter in a tweed overcoat at the bus stop, you can say, hey, look at the guy in that tweed overcoat and the fat ass over the bus stop there. Then there's the regular ass, the everyday normal, garden variety, all-American, run-of-the-mill. You've seen one, you've seen them all ass, just regular ass. And then we have the unfortunates. My group, no ass at all. Just, you wear a fat wallet and 3 handkerchiefs, right? Man, you walk out like that. Black guys used to be on me, man. Say, man, where your ass at? My man ain't got no ass, man. Shit, how you holding them pants up, man? Stud got no ass, man. Shit. Puerto Rican voices was another thing that attracted my ear, because I was into, listening to sounds and imitating them. I was a mimic. That was part of being class clown, making fun of all the people around you. And did the priest,
Did the cops, of course, the cops in New York all had the same voice. If I tell you the, generation voice I was talking about.
and they have set things that they say at certain times. If a guy has a heart attack in the street,
Okay, come on, the show's over. Let's go. Come on, man, the show's over. Always call you Johnny. Come on, get off the corner here, Johnny.
never Bud or Mac.
Come on, Johnny, let's go. Move along. Come on. For Christ's sakes, you're on the corner. Will you just get off the corner? Come on, Johnny. Even your mother.
I'm his mother.
Never mind, Johnny. Get off the corner here. For Christ's sakes, she's on the corner. Good guys.
You never said fa.
Good guys. When you get off the corner, good guys.
Puerto Rican, on the other hand, they were speaking a different language. Puerto Ricans talk faster than any Spanish subgroup, I think. And it sounded like music to me, it's just so pretty, really, like a flute solo, man. I love it. Even if I didn't know what they meant. And I would bend my ear to hear when I could. Loved it in a subway or a bus when there'd be 3 Puerto Rican conversations going on at the same time in different pitches and registers. I think it was the Latin that pulled me. It sounded a little like the Latin, that good old Catholic was in there working. And I was hooked, man. Got a hypnotic effect, doesn't it? Used to make fun of songs in church. Didn't you make fun of hymns and sacred songs and stuff when you could change the words around? Sleep in Heavenly Peace, I know, went through a lot of changes all over the country. Oh, Come All You Faithful was the only song ever to successfully combine sex and religion that I could discover anyway. It sounds like a good revival experience, good mass orgasm. Oh, come all you faithful. Get it going. Pretty song. They call it a Deste Fidelis to cool you out when you're in puberty. I used to listen to the Yankee games in Puerto Rican just to hear the tongue, because, who cared about the Yankees, really? We were a National League neighborhood. In Puerto Rican, who cared what the game was, right? It sounded so good. And you could follow it because you knew the ball players' names, and they'd give those. And if you can count to 3, you can follow baseball, 1, 2, 3. You got it, man. Dos y dos, that's the count, 2 and 2, you're home free. And you can follow the emotion of the announcer, right? Pepsi Cola. It's part of the fun listening to Spanish stations, waiting for the words that they have to say in English. Right? Broadway. Italian voices I never heard much in my neighborhood till I went to high school downtown, when you go to another neighborhood for high school. And Italian street guys,
If these here were the Irish street guys,
the Italian street guy was this guy here. Hey, Sfacin. Hey, why is this guy jerking me off here, huh? Who is this scumbag? This scumbag is jerking me off. Scumbag.
they always made the distinction too. Scumbag was a guy, douchebag was a girl, and they always made it. All right? Those who know will attest.
Hey, this scumbag, last night he was out, he picked up 2 douchebags. He didn't call me up, man. 2 douchebags.
They always adhered to that. I loved that kind of purism, man. Good street, earthy talk, man. Food was always involved in Italian slang, too, because Italians are into food and the oral situation. And singing, sure, opera and eating, man, and kissing and all that, sure, man, it's all oral. And food shows up in their street lingo, like for money, a very important thing in any culture, right? Money is
Bananas. Bananas or clams. Hey, you got 3 clams. Hey, give me, you got half a banana. Get it. You change of a banana. 3 clams to get in. This guy had an arm like a fucking eggplant. Huh? Like an eggplant.
Never heard many Jewish voices. Mostly came in contact with them as merchants. They were candy store owners in our neighborhood. We had 4 candy stores. And usually I heard the Jewish voices from over my shoulder as I was streaking out of the candy store with $20 worth of merchandise in my oversized Ike jacket.
You fancy pants gangster!
Promise, you always promise to put it in the poor box when you grow up.
Everything I steal, I'm gonna put it in the poor box when I grow up.
Please return the stewardess to her original upright position. Their airline always disappointed me. They don't have a drug stewardess. They have an alcohol stewardess. Champagne, red wine, white wine. White wine, champagne. White wine, champagne. Red wine, white wine, champagne. Red wine, white wine. Red wine, white wine, champagne. Champagne, white wine, red wine, white wine. Red wine, white wine, champagne. Champagne, white wine. White wine, red wine, champagne, white wine. I think they could spare one girl to come down the aisle, PCP, trips, coke, smoke, shit, drinks to get high. Because getting high on the plane used to be half the fun. You can't smoke in the lavatories at all anymore, not even Virginia Burley. So if you're going to smoke a joint, better be an old pro. Smoking, or rather getting high on the airplane, I like that better because of the semantic possibilities. If we were the first person ever up in an airplane, you'd say, look, they're high in the airplane. And indeed, we are that. We are high in the airplane. High in the airplane. They always keep telling me at the airport, get on the plane. I say, fuck you, I'm getting in. Let the daredevils get on. But we call it being high on the plane. They're high on the plane. And if you're an aeronautical engineer and you really like the design, you might be high on the plane. And then if you got high on the plane, you'd be triple high on the plane, unless you had got high before you got on the plane. Because you can be high on the plane, or let's put it this way. You can get off and get on, or you can get on and get off. I used to like to smoke up in the forward lavatory, because I figured that the mirror was two-way and the crew was watching. And always offering the crew a hit, naturally. Hey, come on. Hey, guys. All right. Then I'd relax a little, have the little thing locked, occupied. Okay. Looking at all the little slots and shit. And you get high in the plane. Of course, it depended on what airline you were on, whether the suction in the sink was any good. TWA always had the best sink suction, as far as I'm concerned, for your traveling head. Wow. My hair used to straighten out, man. I lost ideas in those sinks, man. But you have to keep it open. I was a real dummy for several years. I used to just press down the drain, which gives you a red ring on the heel of your hand. It's like powder burns, you know, they got you, man. Look at the guy with the red ring. Come on, take him away. So I found you could put some soap in there or a piece of the cup, keep it open. But then you have to decide if you're going to smoke in the bathroom on the plane. You have to decide if you're going to make believe you're taking a shit or not. Because making believe, if somebody could bust it in, like a guy from Texas comes through with an axe, man, you want to be ready taking a regular shit. You don't want to be arrested for shitting through your pants, right? As long as I get rid of the joint, I don't care what the charge is. Shitting with your pants on. Anyway, you get a little high and the light goes on. Return to cabin. Uh-oh, something's up, they need me. Knew I shouldn't have left them alone. And on your way out, you see another sign, because you're really into detail now. And it says, please wash up for the next guy. And so you know you didn't do anything in the sink much, but you do have felon's guilt. So you decide to wash up for the other guy, and you even wash off the gray bubbles on the soap that the old guy made, and you start to wash off the fixtures and shit in the mirror. Looks like it needs a little bit. Pretty soon you're doing the walls, man. Any more babble out there?
I'd like to take a look at the news. First of all, the headlines. 21 killed in 21 gun salute. Off-duty policeman shot by on-duty criminal. And a man with a power saw has been hit by a fallen tree. Police fired over the heads of rioters today. However, they killed 200 people living on the second floor. A physician in Florida claims that he is treating a 107-year-old woman who is pregnant. He claims that because of her advanced age, he will have a grown-up. A man has barricaded himself inside of his house. However, he is not armed, and no one is paying any attention to him. A Milwaukee man has been arrested for attempting to use food stamps to mail a watermelon. The Food and Drug Administration has announced that saliva causes stomach cancer. However, only when swallowed in small amounts over a long period of time. Here are the results of the latest Gallup poll. It seems that 48% of the people were not home. 32% of the people made believe they weren't home. And 20% of the people have no front door. "71 people suffered numerous gunshot wounds in the feet today as two armed midgets ran amok in a downtown bar. Patrons of the tavern claim that the two entered riding horseback, and the trouble started when the one on the bottom began to get drunk. In addition to the foot wounds, extensive damage to the baseboards and electrical outlets was also reported. Out at the lake in City Park today, police arrested a one-armed man who was bothering the other boaters by continuously rowing in a circle. A dog exploded on a busy downtown street corner. No one was killed, however, 20 people were overcome by fur. Police also estimate that somewhere between 100 and 150 fleas also lost their lives in the blast. To kind of wind up the news tonight, a team of medical scientists announced today that they have discovered a cure for apathy. However, they claim no one has shown the slightest bit of interest in it. My job essentially is thinking up goofy shit. Comes right down to that. I mean, you don't have time all week. Just signing checks, going to the laundry, answering the door. Herbie, come here. A lot of interruptions. Hi. Yes, you are in this. You may say anything you like. You don't have a lot of lines, granted, right? You have to think of them, but it's often hard for me to understand them, because oddly enough, these places are built for the voices to go that way. And what I hear is, cannot tell. I have to turn around and say, "Get off there, you asshole!" So I think up the goofy shit and I come on the weekend and report it to you. For instance, have you ever noticed on the escalator that the handrail moves a little bit faster than the thing you're standing on? Have you noticed that all frozen peas are the same size? There are no really large frozen peas. It's like, have you ever started a path? No one bothers to start one. We don't mind using the ones that are there. Over here on the path, Dane. But you ever take the time, start a path? Go ahead. It's a little hard. You have to hold the grass down yourself at first. So, if you're a discus thrower and you practice alone, you gotta go get it yourself. All the shit you can talk about, nobody bothers talking about who empties the wishing well. Acupuncture. We know you can go if your complaint is pain. Can you go to the acupuncturist if your complaint is that you have thousands of tiny needle holes all over your body? What would he do?
Anyway, hi, and say, how are you? And welcome to the Big GC show here. Lots of the big sounds coming up for you. We play the big tunes between now and midnight. Time, temperature checks, news on the half hour, bulletins when they happen. We'll have it all. Thank you. Let's go.
People always want to know how you get started on this job. I guess they ask musicians too, and actors and everything. They always want to know how you got started. They say, how'd you get started? I say to you, did you always want to be a comedian? Well, not in the womb, but right after that, yes. I did. But class clown is when you really do get a chance to kind of work out, you know. Because the classroom is the best place. Classroom's best because, well, no one's allowed to laugh there. And suppressed laughter, you know, is the easiest to get, the most fun. You know, like when you're kneeling in front of a casket. During the sermon, whatever it is. And in the classroom, class clown always sounds like there was only one of them, you know? It sounds like the class clown, but that's not true, really. There was, you know, quite often there were 2 or 3 or 4 of them. Sometimes you'd have a whole classroom full of them, man. If the main guy was absent, second banana would fill in, right? And the class clown wasn't really so unique. You know, he didn't necessarily do things that were real different. It was that he learned things first. He discovered things first and passed them on to the other guys, right? Class clown was the first to discover a lot of musical things. He was the first one to get into Hawaiian nose humming, right? Well, if you're going to play, you know. And then playing head. You had to be a little mazzo for that anyway, man, you know? That and throat. Found out later in life the beard acts as a mute for soft passages. Right. Yeah. Well, anyway. Class clown was the first guy to discover this, usually in gym class, right? Yeah, the old artificial fart under the arm. Or as we called it in New York,
The artificial fart under the arm!
there were a lot of ways to make the fart sound when you were a kid. Remember you had this one too.
And then the crook of your arm. It was an important sound, you know, 'cause I guess we found so many ways to make it, you know. I didn't need any of those fancy ones because I could, I was into the bilabial fricative, you know. I was so glad when I found out that had a real official name to it, man. Bronx Cheer and Raspberry never made it for me. Bilabial fricative. Do one from the back? It would probably be an SBD today, man. Remember that? Silent but deadly. Wow. It's true. Most of the time in class, I was tempted to fool around, man. Get someone's, that's what it was, yeah. You'd be bored and you'd figure, well, why not deprive someone else of their education? And you would set about disrupting the class by
Attracting attention to yourself.
that is the name of this job, you know. It's called Dig Me. Yeah, it was like, hey guys, didn't make the team, but... Yeah.
Say, hey, he's crazy, man. Hey, you want to go to the party? Wow.
Yeah, you went to all the parties. Got the last girl, but you went to all the parties, man. When I would try to attract attention in class, I wasn't really like a very daring and bold youth. I was a little timid, really. I didn't get right into fake epileptic seizures in the aisle, you know. Just start out and test the water a little bit. I used to start with little sounds like That's a good one because no one can really see where it's coming from, you know. You can even look around like you don't know, right? That's, of course, the pigeon. You recognize the pigeon. That was my only bird call. Because that was our only bird, you know. I was from a real New York part of New York, you know. We had pigeons and sparrows. Had sparrows. Sparrows, though, you could never pin a sparrow, you know. They would leave too fast. You try to go over to a sparrow. Pigeons would walk out of your way and give you a bad look, right? Poor pigeons, man. Their song is stuck in their throat, you know? That's what living in the city does, man. Sticks your song in your throat. I'm sure when the pigeons first got to the city, they had a nice song, man. Boo, 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 boo. A few years in the city. And then that little oil slick we laid on them, you've seen that oil slick on their neck. I'm sure we gave them that. Pidgeys. I had one sound that was my own. Not completely my own, I stole it from a Spike Jones record. None of the other guys could do that one. I added a little something to it. Yeah. No one really cared, you know. Get him out of here. Get him out of here. And then, of course, there was popping the cheek, which everyone had to do. Just to be a kid, you had to be able to do that, right? Yeah, it was part of the credentials. Can you pop his cheek? Okay, he's a kid. Let him in. Go on. Let me hear all of you do that. I love when a whole auditorium does it. Everybody do it like that. Just pop. Now do it without giving in to the temptation to laugh. Everybody do it without laughing. But we take that for granted, you know? We think it's so simple. You say to yourself, well, I think I'll put my finger in my cheek and pop it. It's not that easy, man. There's a lot of things to think about. You gotta know how much finger to put in there, for one, right? You can't do it like that, man. You have to judge the amount of finger. You have to know how much air pressure against the cheek, how much cheek pressure against the air, and when to release. Yeah, you see old guys in the park now can't get it on anymore. That's the first thing that goes on a class clown is the cheeks, man. They never did issue microphones to the class clowns. That would have been a big help. But you had ones like this. And you remember this one? Old men always used to do this to you. Remember your grandfather would always do that.
Hey, come here.
My specialty was knuckle cracking. I was into it on kind of an esoteric level, really. For instance, I could crack all 28 knuckles, you know. 28 plus, actually. Only 28 are officially recognized by the Knuckle Institute. But you aficionados know that down at the ends of the fingers you have a lot of multiples and repeaters, and if you wake up and think about it first thing in the morning, you can do 50 or more of them, man. A little more knuckle lore for you. The smaller the knuckle, the higher the pitch. Something we just don't stop to think about, you know? For instance, this last knuckle on the pinky is the highest pitched knuckle. You'll hear it now. That was a double. Let's see if I can go for the double on the other pinky. I don't often get two doubles in performance. I'd like to try. And that was down a little lower than it should have been. That's a higher pitched and much more gentle knuckle usually. Let's give the right one on the end of the pinky a chance. Let's see if the other one's in there too. Two doubles is far out, yeah. The first time the child hears lyrics are nursery rhymes. And they hear them at that much more gathering age, all through 0 through 5. And that's their first introduction to bizarre behavior. You've thought about your nursery rhymes? Quite a gang we had in there. They're all on obvious various drug experiences. Each of them has his or her fave. I got to thinking of this one night when the word Snow White just passed my mind. I thought, Snow White, right. Try to figure, you know. I didn't know whether it was smack or coke, and I thought, well, can't be smack, too much housework to do with those 7 little devils around. Something to pep you up, something to make you want to wash the garage. A little something for the nose. The 7 dwarves were each on different little trips. Happy was into grass and grass alone. Just a little, occasionally some hash, make a holiday for him. Hey,
Thanks, man. Hey, down here, man, poke.
Happy, that's all he did. Sleepy was into reds. Grumpy, too much speed. Sneezy was a full-blown coke freak. Doc was a connection. Dopey was into everything. Any old orifice will do for Dopey. He's always got his arm out and his leg up. And then, the one we always forget because he was bashful. Bashful didn't use drugs, he was paranoid on his own. Didn't need any help on that ladder. Other people in those nursery rhymes. Old King Cole, figure what they did. Old King Cole was a merry old soul, and a merry old soul was he. He called for his pipe, he called for his bowl. I guess we all know about Old King Cole.
He wanted to get high and listen to the fiddlers.
Hansel and Gretel discovered the gingerbread house about 45 minutes after they discovered the mushrooms.
Hey, I see it too.
Mary, Mary, quite contrary, how does your garden grow? It's rather an obvious one. Silver bells and cockle shells and an acre and a half of killer shit. Little Jack Horner sat in the corner, eating his Christmas pie, stuck in his thumb and pulled out a plum and said, "Holy shit, am I high?" Mary had a little lamb. Its stash was white as snow. And everywhere that Mary went, they both enjoyed a blow. Little Miss Muffet sat on the top of eating her curds and whey. Along came a spider and sat down beside her, and they rapped for about an hour and a half. Goldilocks was a speed freak looking for a place to crash. It's obvious. Who else would go to a bear's house? And you notice she didn't eat much, right? Little porridge right in the sack. I know what's happening. Names are a part of words. Hey, names have a real impact, though. Names have emotional value, especially names that are attached to products or people or really things that are bigger than just stuff. But holy moly, product names. For instance, if Janitor in a Drum made a douche, nobody would buy it, man. It would be like Raid Feminine Hygiene Spray. Raid! Wow! They call them feminine hygiene sprays. They're underleg deodorants, and they never recognize that. Well, I think lesbians should have a perfume called Fuck Off, Mister. I'd like to bring out a brand new car and call it the 1975 piece of shit. Right? Well, the guys who sell them call them that. Here's a nice little turd coupe. And don't forget the big country shit box. Call them shit boxes, man. Whose turd is that? That's my trade-in, sir. Well, get it away from the sign, man. They'll think we sell them things here. Here's a nice little shit box. Drive it off the lot. You get the full guarantee. If it breaks in half, you get to keep both halves. I would like to have a baseball team and call it the Milwaukee Beer Farts. I would like to have cream of botulism soup. How about a company called United Consumer Fuckers? Football team names, man. I'm tired of Panthers and Tigers and Wildcats. I would like to root for the Cincinnati Mice, man. Go Mice! Let's win for the pink and white. Well, you'd have a whole rodent division, man. You'd have the Hawaii hamsters, and the Georgia gerbils. Guys would be all rodent. You'd dig it, man. The Oakland Raiders, man. What about the victims? The Virginia victims. I'd like to see any animal that's alive ought to be eligible to be 13, man. The Seattle sperm. The Texas tumors, man. How about the Kansas City crabs? Huh?
Well, the crabs are all over the Cowboys today, Bill. Yes, indeed.
My name was a pain in the ass. George is a pain in the ass name. It really is. It's a name that you have to kind of grow up separately from. You be my name, I'll be me. I'll answer the door and they'll ask for you. It's really a name like, well, for one thing, when you're writing it, it's never finished, man. George, O-R, G-E-O-R, 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 G. You feel incomplete, you know? Then they start whipping the little poem on you, the little chant. Georgie Porgy. Nobody else in the world has a goddamn song like that. Ned, Don, Arlo, Whitney, Dan, Phil, Gabriel, Stan, Wally, Ernest, Duke, Ned. It's a different Ned. None of them had goddamn songs. Georgie Porgy. Georgie Porgy, pudding and pie. First thing you do is lay a symbol on me I don't understand. What am I, a raisin? Pudding and pie? Jesus. Kissed the girls. Yeah. And made them cry. Oh, no. When the boys came out to play, Georgie Porgy ran away. They never mentioned that biologically this was sensible that I would live to reproduce. Only that I'd run away. Well, that pissed me off. Next thing I heard, they're saying, let George do it. They weren't even talking about the real thing. Let George do it. Talking about mopping and shit. Let George do it. Let George do it. Screw it. You do it. George is a dumbass name because, well, it's way down the list of names of getting laid automatically by the sound of your name. Some people have said there is no such list. Of course there is. You got three guys. You got Tito, Chico, and George. Who's out there? Tito, Chico, and George. Tell George to wait. Fucking Tito, you know. It's a cool name. So you live different from your name. I always felt sorry for guys whose names were Dick and Peter, you know? That's what I said. Hey, Dick. Hey, I'm sorry. No, I don't mean you're a dick. I don't mean that. Your name is Dick. I'm sorry. Your name is Dick. Hiya, Dick. I always wondered how girls got away with bringing them home. Mom, I brought Dick and Peter home. What? I know a guy, his first name was Ed. He was so cool, he spelled it with a hyphen. It's kind of nice, you know? Tonight we'll take a look at the news hostility scoreboard. Find out how we're treating each other around the world. According to the scoreboard, we got 4 civil wars going on right now. 2 brush fire wars, 4 vest pocket wars, 9 wars of liberation, 2 police actions, 16 revolutions, 35 rebellions, 58 border clashes, 21 terrorist bombings, 36 retaliatory raids, 400 guerrilla operations, 95 commando strikes, 612 acts of sabotage, 237 ceasefire violations, 44 surprise attacks, 6 outside aggressions, 6 internal upheavals, 3 protective reaction strikes, 10 counterinsurgencies, 21 violent disturbances, 30 warlike acts, 906 hostile incidents, 10 arms races, 18 deliberate provocations, 61 threats to security, 9 dangerous escalations, 2 military confrontations, 6 heightenings of tension, 14 heated exchanges, 12 belligerent moves, 17 reprisals, 3 powder kegs, 2 tinder boxes, and an ultimatum.